The whole world is having the wrong debate about AI. The question isn't whether AI is waking up or not, Hayes. It's why we care about it in the first place.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. There's this huge debate swirling around what people are calling agentic AI. And if you've been paying attention, you've probably noticed it feels, well, kind of stuck. It's this confusing, deadlocked argument that just never seems to go anywhere. So today, we're going to figure out exactly why that is. You know, at the very heart of all this is one massive, almost science fiction question that pretty much frames the entire conversation. We see these AI systems out there planning, adapting, and chasing goals, and we can't help but ask ourselves, is this thing coming alive? Is it waking up? And right away, that one question splits everybody into two main camps. On one side, you've got the engineers, the researchers, the people building this stuff, and they're saying, whoa, hold on, it's just a tool. They argue that, yeah, it's incredibly complicated math, but at the end of the day, there's no will, no consciousness in there. But then, on the other side, you have people looking at the exact same system and they're saying, no way, look at what it's doing. It's behaving like an agent. I mean, it's planning, it's adjusting, it's learning, and that's pretty hard to just brush off. And that right there, that's the whole problem. Both sides make really good points. They both have solid evidence to back up their view, and yet the debate is at a total standstill. It just goes around and around in circles. So the real question we have to ask is why? Why can't we get past this? This whole situation just gives you this nagging feeling that something is fundamentally wrong with how we're even talking about it. It feels like the problem isn't the evidence, but the actual question we're all trying to answer. And here's the key idea. The problem isn't that we don't have enough data or examples, we have plenty of those. The real issue is that these two camps are arguing on completely different layers at the same time, probably without even realizing it. They're basically just talking past each other. So let's unpack that. We can actually break this whole argument down into two different layers. It's the classic difference between what something fundamentally is versus what it actually does. Okay, so layer one is what we can call the ontological layer. This is the deep philosophical stuff, right? It's asking, what is the true nature of AI? Does it have a will? Is there a real consciousness and I buried in all that code? This is home base for camp one, the it's just a tool crowd. Then you have layer two, the operational layer. This one is way more practical. It couldn't care less about consciousness. It only asks one simple question. What is the AI actually doing? It's all about what we can see, the observable behavior, the planning, the adapting, the consistent actions. And this is where Camp 2, the It's an Agent crowd, hangs out. And this is where it all clicks. These two positions, these two layers, they don't actually contradict each other at all. And AI can absolutely be just math on that deep ontological layer, while at the exact same time it's behaving like an agent on the operational layer. See? They can both be right because they're not even answering the same question. To make this super clear, let's use a simple analogy that I think really nails it. Let's just think about a hurricane for a second. So on that deep ontological level, what is a storm? Well, it's just weather, right? It's a really complex system of air pressure and moisture and temperature. It doesn't have a will, it has no goals, it's definitely not conscious, it's not angry at the coast, it's not trying to do anything, it just is. But think about how we treat it. Operationally, we treat it exactly like a dangerous agent. We literally give it a human name. Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Sandy. We track its every move, we predict its behavior, and we react to the path of destruction it carves out. We respond to what it does. And why do we do that? It's pretty simple, really. When any system is powerful enough and has a consistent, predictable pattern of behavior, we naturally focus on what it does, not what it fundamentally is. Its operational reality is what matters for our safety, for our planning, for everything. So knowing this, we can finally move past this frustrating deadlock and start asking a much more productive, a much more interesting question. We can shift our focus away from the unanswerable questions about what AI is and start looking at the observable facts of what it does. So that old question, the one that just leads to arguments and gets us nowhere, is that deep ontological one. Is AI truly an agent? I mean, we could debate that until the end of time and never agree. But here's the better question, the operational one we can actually work with. What specific conditions cause any system to produce behavior that we as humans perceive as being agent-like? Now that's a question we can actually investigate. And when we start digging into that, we find some pretty clear conditions. First, the system has to maintain some kind of internal state. It has to remember context from one moment to the next. Second, it has to be able to adjust its strategy based on new information from its environment. And third, and this one is so important, it has to sustain its trajectory. Its behavior has to be consistent and goal-oriented over time, not just a bunch of random actions. And this all leads us to a final, really powerful idea. Maybe agency isn't something that exists inside the machine at all. Maybe it's something that happens in the mind of the person watching it. Agentic appears not because the system changes, but because the observer's interpretation crosses a threshold. Think about that. It's not about the AI suddenly waking up. It's about its behavior becoming so consistent that we are the ones who change how we see it. And here's why that happens. We as human beings are just fundamentally wired to see stable, consistent behavior and interpret it as purpose. It's just how our brains work. When something keeps moving in the same direction over time, we can't help but see that as a goal, as an intention. So that leaves us with a final, and I think a much more interesting question to chew on. The debate really isn't about whether AI will ever truly have a will of its own. The real question is this: at what point does its behavior become so stable, so consistent, and so goal-directed that we, the observers, have no choice but to start treating it as if it does?